Lesson 8. Hi everybody, John here. Thanks for tuning into Lesson 8 in the Step-by-Step Voiceover Lessons for Beginners series. In Lesson 7, we discussed the first link in the voiceover recording chain, the recording environment. In this episode, we talk about the second link, which is you, specifically your voice. But first, the disclaimer. Vocal production, meaning how your body produces sound, vocal health and pathologies, and vocal training are complex subjects that should be left to qualified professionals. So my comments on this topic will be fairly general. If you feel at any time you're having problems with your voice, please seek advice from a doctor, speech pathologist, or other qualified professional. Okay, here we go. Your voice is highly variable, and many factors will influence how you sound at any given moment. The time of day, what you have or haven't been eating and drinking, your vocal training and warm-up routines, your general health and state of mind, and any specific problems you might be having with your voice, for example, congestion or vocal tension. In addition, things like your posture, breathing, mic technique, and whether you're sitting or standing will all affect your sound. You'll be giving attention to all of these factors and more as you strive to produce the best result for your project. So let's talk about a few general factors in a bit more detail. When I was taking classes early in my voiceover career, we always stood while recording, and one of my coaches was adamant that you always should, as he believed it helped to keep your energy up. I also believe it does, and I do advise novices to stand whenever possible, at least until they've become fairly confident in their abilities. And most professional recording studios, by default, will set up their booths to accommodate standing voice talent. But some talent do prefer to sit, and in certain situations, it's just much easier to do so. At home, I self-record while crammed in a very small booth, and the way everything works out with the equipment, it's just easier to sit. So that's become my default choice. I've also found that I breathe easier when sitting, so that helps my vocal production. Professional recording studios can almost always accommodate sitters, so don't hesitate to ask if that's your preference. Posture is also important because it's the physical expression of your state of mind, which of course affects your performance. So, depending on what you're trying to convey, a character, an attitude, a specific situation, your posture will naturally change as you perform. And the reverse is also true. If you change your posture, your performance will follow. Are you standing up straight and tall or slouching? Is your neck pulled back or craned forward? Have you got your hands in your pockets, or are you physicalizing the part very freely and confidently with your hands and arms? All of these details will change your voice and performance. One of the other basics of voice production is hydration. You'll want to keep yourself well hydrated both before and during your recording sessions. A dry voice often yields a poor result, and you can even damage your voice if you use it improperly while not well hydrated. I start drinking water as soon as I get up in the morning and have usually consumed maybe 20 to 40 ounces by the time I start recording, and I'm sipping water constantly as I'm recording. Now, that's me, of course, and you may do better with more or less water, or with coffee or tea or something else, so you'll need to experiment. But generally, for vocal professionals, water's the thing. And if you live in a drier climate, humidifying your home may also help a lot. And of course, breathing is very important. And I don't want to get too deep into vocal production, but generally, you want to be breathing and vocalizing in as relaxed a manner as possible, avoiding shallow breathing and tension in the neck and vocal tract. So experiment with your breathing as well as the timing of your breaths relative to natural pauses in the script. As I mentioned at the top, these are just a few of the things you'll need to consider when using your voice. And again, seek a qualified professional if you're having a significant problem with your voice. Okay, in Episode 9, we'll talk about the next link in the voiceover recording chain, which is the microphone. So subscribe to be notified if you haven't already. And in the meantime, the next assignment is to begin experimenting with 3 of the vocal production basics we've discussed in this lesson: sitting or standing, posture and body positioning, and breath. Try different positions, postures, and breathing techniques to see how they change your performance, and be sure to record your experiments so you can hear the results. In time, you'll be able to quickly adjust to the needs of different recording situations. You'll notice I left hydration out of the assignment, and that's because under normal circumstances you'll always want to be well hydrated when you perform, and at this point I don't want you reading if you're not well hydrated. Okay, that's it for now. Links in the description, subscribe for more episodes, and thanks for listening.